Beautiful. Anyone else before I jump up?
It's Carla. I would love to discuss this person in a very positive, affirming way. I had the pleasure of coaching with this person several years ago, and her ability to see my patterns when we were connecting on a regular basis allowed me to deal with something that kept reoccurring in my life with her absolute support. I had to face a bully in my life, and I even had to have extra time with her in order to do that. And she was there for me in spades. I've never had a bigger cheerleader, but not even just the cheerleading, but the actual laser way that she gave me hope and courage to face things down so that I've never had to look back and deal with that again. I'm so grateful.
Beautiful. All right. Well, here we go. When you feel this kind of energy, and there are those of us who know what we're in for tonight and in the events that we have planned, it's no wonder that all of the electronics are going a little crazy. So we're just going to celebrate each and every one of you who are on this call, and if we can record it, we will, and if not, you're right here where you're supposed to be. And I was thinking, you know, how much I love to introduce people, and I don't want to take too much more of her time, but we are going to go 10 minutes over because we're starting 10 minutes late. And I want to give you guys every moment that you possibly can have with her. And I thought, you know how much I love to intro her, and how am I going to do this in a way that is going to make her really, truly step into the brilliance that she is? And here's the deal, she knows. She knows her purpose. She knows her vision. She wakes up every day to light up ours. And I love that Lynn Dick chose those matches to put beside her face. That was deeply inspired, because everything she is about is lighting us up. She is a catalyst for positive change. And here's what I did. I went to her website, which is stellar, and the words and the craftsmanship that has come around those words is not, it's perfect. So I'm just going to steal it. She says that she's been awakening and guiding people to create sustainable change in their lives and careers for well over 12 years, and 3 of those have been with me, and I'm so grateful for each and every one. With certifications from the Academy for Coach Training, Dream Coach University, and a certified print assessment coach. She works closely with teams and leaders and individuals and businesses. Oh my gosh, the business stories that she can pull out of organizations that she has transformed based on their strengths and strategies and the shifting in mindsets, as Carla attested to earlier. She's got a lifelong interest and passion for the human field of potential. That's us, guys. She's so passionate about us. And she's taught hundreds, including us, how to live empowered, radically courageous living lives. And the theme tonight is fearless leadership. And I was speaking with her earlier, and I said, the challenge for me is going to be to not take a single note. So I'm not going to take a single note. I'm going to be present. I'm going to trust that this recording that I've got going on is going to work, because there's no way that you can capture everything that she's going to say tonight. And you're going to be off trying to grab a sentence or two. Just trust me. Just sit back, open up your hearts, and let her take us on this journey of understanding truly how to embrace fearless leadership. And so please, would you welcome the great and amazing Nancy Carlstrom.
Yay! Thank you very much. It's so great to be here. And I'll just say to everyone, buckle up, because it isn't just me, it's Karen and I. So imagine Karen's energy squared, and obviously pulling energy in from the ethers, because the technology is really presenting us with the current of change. So it's wonderful to be here and be in front of everyone, those who I know intimately and those who I've yet to know. Thank you for the wonderful introduction and the accolades from each and every one of you. I sure appreciate it. Kimberly, Carla, Lynn, Karen, all of you. Thanks so much. And let's jump into fearless leadership. It's what we're all about.
And you always make note of all my background noises. So there goes the door slamming, going, yeah, let's go. I have my running shoes on. I am totally pacing, and I am so, so thrilled. How did you come across this body of work called Fearless Leadership? Let's just dive in, because these guys are
sure. Let's do that. You know, I have I often heard when I started coaching, and I think we've all heard it, you know, if you know a teacher and you're wrapped into positive change in your life, we always hear that old adage that you teach what you have to learn. And it was a number of years ago where about 3 years ago, I had quite the situation in my personal life that really ignited me into this journey of fear. So it was a situation that tagged every primal emotion of mine and sent me reeling and really challenged me to elevate as a coach, because I can't teach. I will never teach anything or ask my clients to do things that I haven't done myself. And so, you know, I always, you know, kind of pat myself on the back. Only if I do it will I, you know, help you navigate this landscape. So, of course, you know, life in all its wisdom decides that it's going to bring me to a bigger platform, and the only way to get there is to get in the trenches, get in the fire, and walk right into it and out the other end. So it was a personal experience that absolutely ignited every bit of fear inside my body, and I've learned along the way and continue to learn the ways to step into that fear, kind of skinny right up to it. I've learned to Velcro it to my hip and take it with me wherever I go, turning to it for its wisdom. And as if, you know, one situation wasn't enough, a year ago, my dad got ill very quickly and passed rather quickly, and there I was, first time faced with something that big, and there was fear right in my face again. Mm-hmm. And I've learned the tools and tips and strategies that work for me and also work for clients of mine that really allow us to look at life as more of a sacred journey, a journey that our soul is just trying to wake us up and go on. And the more that I leaned into the fear and asked what it had for me, the more I ended up growing this amazing body of work and living exactly what it is I teach. So life is benevolent. It says, I know your heart, I know where you're going, and let me give you a little fuel for the fire. So like it or not, we get it, and what we need to do is learn to like it so we can get it.
And you coach across so many industries, and this fear keeps showing up because it's such a human nature. And talk a little bit about how you see it crippling us in network marketing. Because for some reason, our entire paycheck seems to be wrapped around how fearless we are.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first let's look at fear just really quickly, just so we understand that the human nervous system is hardwired to be more sensitive to impending doom and danger than it is for those budding opportunities. So it's a pre-installed program, and if we understand that, then we can when it shows up, we can befriend it rather than forget everything and run, right? Fear, forget everything and run, or false evidence appearing real, or where it really gets powerful is focus energy, accept responsibility. So what's fascinating that I see with network marketing is, I got to tell you, you're like fish swimming upstream. And I say that because there's a collective addiction of thought out there, and I know you all know what I'm talking about. When you get in front of somebody and you start telling them about the USANA opportunity, and what I'm sure you get, the feedback you get is their fears, their perceptions. They're not telling you the way it is, they're telling you the way they are. And so it's a big hill to climb. It feels like a fish, literally swimming upstream, because every time, or not every time, but it's fairly often, because it's a recurring theme with everyone that
day in, day out.
that all you have to do is say that those three little words, multi-level marketing, and right away you see the eyes glaze over. You see people finding ways to disconnect. And so in that moment, if you jump into their energy and you swim in the waters with them rather than leave them in the pool and keep swimming upstream, putting your stake in the ground for what you know to be on the leading edge, then I'm telling you, that's where your brilliance begins to shine. So there are people that I coach that sit in little cubicles all day long, doing what they've always done in a comfort zone that has them less than, that doesn't have them testing their greatness, that doesn't have them on the leading edge, reaching out to people and really igniting, positive change and high impact life results. And you and all of you in network marketing, that's a whole different ball of wax, as they say, a whole different playing field that you get to jump in, because you don't need to just sit and do what you did yesterday. You get to get out on the leading edge, learn from what your past, right? The past is not the predictor of your future, right? Mm-hmm. It allows you to learn from it. It is your teacher. Mm-hmm. So I love the fact, what I love about network marketing is these are people on the edge who think beyond the way the collective thinks, who think bigger, who are invested in themselves, their growth, their community. They're invested in leadership.
When you said in network marketing, you are fish swimming upstream, mm-hmm. It completely gave me a paradigm that I've never had before. Like, everything makes sense. Of course it's going to be a little more challenging. Of course it's called earning financial freedom. You don't just float down the stream and get it. People don't swim into your business and go, oh, sign me up, sign me up. These are muscles and these are skills, and we had a great coaching this morning about how you don't just jump into this business and know stuff. You've got to learn stuff. You've got to learn skills, and that's because you might have been able to sell going downstream, but now you've got to sell going upstream. And that's a different set of muscles. And I thought, oh, wow, this is a stigma I want, and that's what leadership is.
Well, it is, and think of it this way. In addition to that, everybody who's on the call who has chosen this as a way forward, I've got to tell you, it's like you're warriors. Mm-hmm. And I say that from a place in that you are thinking beyond the collective consciousness. You are immersed in new possibilities. You are immersed in listening to that nudge, that call, that inspires you forward, that puts you out on the edge. And it's a soulful calling. If you wanted to sit in a little brown cubicle day in and day out with no other hope of anything different or new, just kind of wait, waiting the clock, running that clock out. It's just a little bit longer and I can get the gold watch, which we never get anyway. That's not how life is built anymore. Mm-hmm. Life is built for those who are willing right now at this time of change that's going so quickly. Life is built for us to be a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a leader, and those of us willing to say, I will find my way forward, and I will find my way with those who are eager to get on with their bigger journey as well. So I say it quite honestly, the fish swimming upstream, it's kind of sort of a spiritual journey. Matter of fact, no spiritual journey. That's why you chose to do what you do. That's why your soul, the nudge, asked you to step into this business and do it in a new way, because it's saying to you, there's more for you to bring to life.
And so the fear that we feel is kind of normal. It's kind of natural. And you talk about it being our great teacher, and I love that.
Well, it is. I mean, if we can turn to it, our fear says to us, want to know how far you've thought? Watch what happens. Right? Watch where I will tag you. And that's why fear becomes a brilliant leader, because every time we get nervous, we get frightened about something, we just kind of get our fear, that fearful place in us, that emotion tagged. Life just says, ready for a growth spurt? That's all it's about. Here's how far you've grown. Here's as big as you thought. You haven't gone beyond this. And I'm going to show you what it looks like by using your emotions, right, your internal GPS system. I'm going to tag a little emotion, says that's as big as you thought. So what it looked like for me and my second big go-around with Dancing with Fear was the fact when my dad died, and I was going back to the Midwest. I knew he had a few days left, and I was all beside myself. It's a first parent who has passed. Our family hasn't experienced anything on this level. So I'm thinking, this is the scariest thing I've ever faced. And the more I talked about it, the more I amped up inside my body and outside my body. Mm-hmm. And the more I talked about it, the more I amped up I got, the more fretful I got, the more incapacitated I became to deal with what was in front of me. And then, whoop, the light bulb, hold on. What if fear was my teacher? What if I could take fear with me? What if it could coexist with this experience? And so then I started playing with sacred journey, scary journey, sacred journey, scary journey. And I've got to tell you, the minute I stepped over off the jetway onto the plane, flag on the ground, and I said, sacred journey. And I have to tell you, it was the most sacred experience of my entire life, bar none. And all it was me turning to fear and saying, where's the wisdom? I will get in partnership with you because I know life is doing everything for me, not against me or to me. So if I get in partnership with this, then certainly something bigger than me is going to be able to whisper in my ear. And now I'm riding on the back of the giant, and all I have to do is say, I'm holding on to the reins, let's go. So that piece, that's the beautiful gift of fear. If we realize it's just saying you have a certain way of thinking, you are limiting yourself, then we can go further.
I had the privilege of being close to you somewhat during that time. We did some texting and a little bit of email, and we had spent some time together before you flew home. And I remember a decision that you made at some point as you're moving back into your family system. You said, I will show up as a leader. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. That's so fascinating. Thank you for reminding me. I forgot all about that. I was in my sacred journey, but that's the listening. That's when we partner with this thing called fear that just is our past knocking on our door, right? That pain is just an invitation to expand our scope and our belief. And so what I did was, it's like, well, I don't know what I'm walking into, but I know as I've chosen sacred journey, I can get into leadership because I'm at a whole different altitude, on a whole different trajectory, being able to see it in a whole different way. The gift, truly the gift of wisdom from fear. And it was, I led 7 children, and I led the whole thing. And to this day, with everything else that continues to happen around my family, I lead it. And it has become for me, when I look at leadership, it becomes such an important part of who we are, because there are people so hungry to know what direction to go, so hungry to look for a leader who can direct them to become more of themselves. And so it was, for me, you're right, Karen, thank you for reminding me, it was a decision, it was a conscious decision, sacred journey, get into leadership. And if I need to partner with whoever, I will. But I know that, I've heard the calling, I've heard the whisper, and as I get into leadership, all of a sudden we have consensus and things are running smooth, and we're blessed every step of the way. And that's the way our lives do unfold.
This is a really precious arena that you're sharing. I have a very close friend of Tim and me, and his mom is taking her last breath probably just even now. And when you look at that family dynamic, you're one of 7 or you have 7?
Mm-hmm.
You're one of 7.
I'm one of 7. I only have 2. I'm not that crazy.
and you're choosing to be your brightest, shiniest self. And what I want to paint just a little bit bigger picture here is it's not being bossy. It's not walking in and saying, I'll take control and I'll show them how to do this and I'll help my poor sister who's falling apart over here. Talk a little bit more about the opposite of bossy and how you gracefully stepped into leadership. Because I think a lot of people think leadership is power. So people that think, well, you know, I'm not outgoing and charismatic, I don't have leadership gifts, might be checking out.
Sure. And I'd say stay checked in, lean hard in, because everybody is loaded with leadership. That if you're checking out, you know exactly where you quit yourself. And it just says, I've only thought up until this point. I haven't thought of myself in leadership. It scares me. So I'm just going to, you know, check out, sit back, and, you know, maybe file my nails or something till this call is over. So because if I get off, Karen's going to know I disappeared. But what I want to invite you to, here's my definition, my view of leadership. I feel leadership is the art of holding an elevated space of possibilities for ourselves as well as others, so we can grow beyond the current version we think we are and right into a new vision of who we soulfully know we are.
Okay, I know no one's taking notes, but can you say that again?
Sure. Because it isn't about being bossy. It's about holding some elevated space of leaning into people's potential, our potential, and people's potential. So I see leadership, as I said, it's the art of holding an elevated space of possibilities for ourselves and others to grow beyond the current version of who we think we are and into a new vision of who we soulfully know we are. So it isn't about bossing people around, because whoever you lead is teaching you leadership. So there's
that's so true.
Right? So you're using a language, you'll say something and somebody will either they won't move forward and not in pushback, but in there was no resonance in what you said. There was no alignment. And so as leaders, we have to learn to speak the language. We have to learn to speak a lot of different languages. Because if we're leaders, we're working with a lot of people. And so if we're rooted in our potential, and we know this is a journey that we take with others. It isn't that one day we magically became a leader, right? It is that we've taken the journey with others, and we'll see, you know, we just continue to hold our vision, this new vision of who we are, and then we bring people along the way speaking the language that they speak to get them where they want to go. So I'll give you an example, but this is personal, but it's you know, translates to business as well. So there we are after my dad passes, and we go to the funeral home, and people say that we're sitting there, and the fellow says, "Well, what do we have here?" Right, like we're at a buffet or something. Well, what do we have here? What do we have going on here? And I see everybody looking like a deer in the headlights. So it was at that moment I spoke up. And in that moment that I spoke up, I became the leader. But I spoke from a place in my heart, because I'm getting the lay of the land here. I'm feeling people's emotional temperature, right? And I'm realizing if they're not able to speak or they don't know what to do, because I've chosen it, I do know what to do. Then it goes a little further, and I say to the family as we're gathered, who would like to give the eulogy? And you know how they say, and then people step backwards, and there you are, right, out in front. And everybody had stepped backwards. So, you know, in their own self-identification. And so me and my new self-identification was forward and in the leadership role. And I'm not saying that's what's great about me. I'm saying that's how it works. Because most people want to stay in a state of self-identification called their comfort zone. Yep. And so if we're presenting to, a perfect example is if you bump into someone at a event at a grocery store, in line at Starbucks, and they are telling you who they are, and it's usually a definition of, they're talking about the time, how their body feels, what their problems are, what the weather is like. It's in that very moment we can jump into their energy field and join them, or we can go to that elevated state of possibilities and have a different kind of conversation that ignites a very different outcome and leaves an imprint of a very different energy on the person. And we've talked about this before a couple of years ago, where we say favorite 6 words. I can help you with that. Right? And but that is what leadership is basically all about, is we are holding this special elevated state of being, of possibilities for people, because people know how to identify the story that they've created and that they live in. So they know that they have memorized an emotion about who they are. They've memorized the state of being, and they just don't know how to grow beyond it. Leadership is so beautiful because it allows us to learn to speak their language, hold the space of possibilities, and learn how to take them forward. And that's why leadership is more of a partnership. Big secret, leadership is a partnership. Beautiful. You can't get anybody to do anything, but you can get people to follow. You can inspire people. You can motivate people. But if you think you're going to push and shove people forward, it's not going to work. That's an old paradigm that is quickly dying and going the way of the dinosaurs.
In fact, it repulses people, I think.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
And it's the story that people have around their memorized emotions, who we are, what I do, why I do it, why I'm not going forward, why I'm not more rich, why I'm more, the stories that we get wrapped up in, it's like shrink wrap, and we have to find the real spirit that's in there. One of the things that we are moving forward in, and many leaders on this call are doing it in their own creative spheres and realms, creating events that are not USANA focused, that are in essence energy focused. And I was thinking they're leadership focused. It's inviting people into our fish tank of who we are as the Delta team. How we swim, how we breathe, how we hang out in conversation, how we don't tell the old negative stories, how we're always creating visions and talking about the dreams as if they're now. And people want to be around that. I think people are hungry for that. So the very event that we've created on the 9th around you is to get people into our energy and to let you from the front of the room elevate the whole energy in the room. And who isn't going to want to be a part of that?
Well, but that's the beautiful thing. You are absolutely right. People are hungry. I can tell you, it's my business. I can tell you people are desperate and hungry to feel better. People are looking for a community of like-minded people who raise them up, who live in possibility, who can show them a way outside of what has been forever and be able to sustain on that level. And that's what leadership is all about. And so when you're building a community, just working with a Delta team member, and we're defining her why. Why is she doing what she's doing? And it was beautiful. It wasn't to buy a car and to get a new house and to do the stuff things, because all of that is gratis, right? We love that too. We're not going to, that is part of life's experience. But her big thing was she's looking for people to run with, who are elevated in thought. She's looking to build a community that she can have some fun with, that she can have compelling conversations with, that she can inspire and ignite, and they can equally inspire and ignite her. She wants to play in that field. It makes her really hungry and excited for that up-leveled way of being. And that's what people are looking for. And that is a great reason when you're looking at leadership and building community events around that kind of energy and around it, that kind of invitation, to think bigger than you've ever thought before. Those are the conversations that keep you up at night in inspiration. They don't, wake you up with the 2 a.m. sweats worrying about how you're going to, hit this goal, pay this bill, navigate through this. But instead, there are those conversations that keep you up, contemplating all the possibilities. So those kind of events, I say to people, if you're ready to feel better, because at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. They just want to feel better. Right?
So awesome.
Yeah. Right? And feel better means I might be more, I might have more, I might bring more to the table, I might take more away from the table. But it's all defined within a state of being of fulfillment. And there's a big nudge on the planet right now for everybody to listen up and lean into communities of like-minded people, so we're all moving collectively on the planet to elevate the state of being as much as we possibly can by leading the charge.
Nancy, I don't know if I've introduced you to Giancarlo Manuel. He has a goal of being #1 growth on the Delta team. There's a few people who are rivaling him for that spot. Graham Snowden is one. He just had to pop off and go do a presentation, which I'm all about. But these guys have started a movement called Gen Hustle, and they're actually prospecting with the very language that you're using now. And Jen, if you have some of that language, do you want to pop up and share it? I'm thinking you're on the edge of your seat somewhere out there. Are you there, Jen? He'll pop up shortly. Because their whole way of being in that Gen Hustle movement is come be a part of radical change on the planet, of a group of like-minded men and women, exactly what you're talking about, where our energy is vibrating at a level that you just want to be around because it's going to serve you at whatever level you come in at.
Absolutely. So most of the people, right, we only move from 3 emotional orientation places, right, 3 set points: blame, guilt, or appreciation.
Say that one more time.
There are 3 emotional set points, of emotional orientation that we all initiate from every single minute of every single day. Blame, guilt, appreciation. Blame, we all get that. I'd be where if they, right? If I could get some good people quit saying no to me, then I could, right? So it isn't ownership or appreciation, it's blame. Guilt, oh man, I woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't know what's wrong with me. I never. I'm such a schlunk. What a dummy. Or appreciation. Boy, do I appreciate. Even the no, the way they said it, says to me, next time I saw where their eyes glazed over, I saw where they went away, I appreciate them showing it. I'm just about ready to elevate, reinvent my approach, right? Or appreciation. And we hear all this, I have 2 arms, I have 2 legs, but I say it's bigger than that. It's that place of appreciation that says everything that comes in front of you is here for one reason only, and that is to help you grow. It's all about expansion, period. And so blame, guilt, or appreciation has you grabbing a hold of expansion and taking it along with you, because I can tell you, everybody, I don't care what, the younger they are, the hungrier they are. The younger they are, the more frightened they are. And then you get the middle group, and they're kind of holding it together. And then you get the baby boomers, and they're right back where, in that fearful place, right? Kind of concerned about how the story's going to end. Everybody from the age of, well, let's put them at 18 to 20, all the way up to those who are 85 are all running on a level of fear that beautiful communities of forward-thinking people could highly impact in beautiful ways.
Mm.
And so building community events and charging people up to be more than they've ever been so they feel better builds loyalty, builds respect, builds confidence. You and I, Karen, were talking a little bit earlier and talking about self-identification. And I had said I was talking to a gal a little earlier today, and she's a dynamic PR Yale grad. And she was talking about, you would think all of those qualifiers would have her, just a powerhouse. And yet, just like all of us, she was unhappy, felt ill-equipped for a specific journey. So we found two words that I've used over and over that have a lot of power, and I would invite everyone who is looking to lean into leadership here and really build a vibrant team to reach for these two words, because it'll trump self-identification and the old you, the old fearful you, every single time. And those two words are, until now.
And you guys can write those down. You can actually make a note of that. Until now, ...
Until now. So someone might say, it's really hard for me to do presentations because I always fill in the blank. And then we have to say, ... until now. Because until now, you have now ignited your prefrontal cortex of your brain right behind your forehead. You've taken yourself out of the reptilian brain, freeze, fight, flight, and you are now solution-seeking. You are now hopeful. You're now open to the possibilities. Imagine as you change and share with other people what kind of movement you can get going. How good you could feel. How often?
Gosh, I can just think of statement after statement after statement. I didn't know how to get to gold. Until now.
Until now.
And then it holds you growth 25. Until now.
Until now. And the beautiful part of it then for each of us is to say, if I need some resources to help me do it, I'm going to reach out for it. If I have to think beyond who I've been, if I have to, then I'm going to do it. If I have to emulate behaviors of someone who has already been there, then I will.
And I want to make a point of when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. It has been my experience every single time, and I think it is because of what you just described that goes on in our brain. I don't know if you were on the call yet when Kimberly was introducing you, and what she loved the most was the energy of curiosity that you infused in every way that she shows up to get curious, and I felt that same energy when we said, until now. It's just a whole other way of being, and my favorite Nancy Carlstrom quote is, the universe is always, always, always conspiring on our behalf for our very highest good. And so here I was in a place and state of being in my own leadership, looking to elevate the game of everyone who's coming around me. That's what I'm always about. It's always how do we get juicier, how do we get yummier, how do we get more attractive as a community. And into my house comes you. I'd never heard of you. You come with a friend. You're there for a strategic, specific reason. And I milked you like a cow. It was so great.
And I had fun in the process, need I say.
I can ask her absolutely everything, and you had clarity, you had focus, you looked into my eyes, and really, you didn't say this with your words, but you said it with your spirit. I can help you. Get in my wake. And so when you talk about resources, they can come out of nowhere. They can land on your doorstep from places you've never even heard of. And so you might not have known how to grow the right side of your business until now. So yummy.
And if you need to tap into a brilliant mind who's already done it, who can inspire you or who can give you the information and the knowledge, then you definitely want to do that, because that becomes, your secret sauce. I remember years ago there was before all the other bracelets, the very first bracelet, I think it was WWJD. What would Jesus do? And all of us, it has to at some point put on the bracelet of someone that we want to emulate, whether it is someone in our business whether it is a divine teacher, whether it is a human who we know who has lived in the past that had an elevated, exceptional way of thinking or idealizing or acting or leading, if we can sit in that energetic space of WW fill in the blank D, then that allows us to always play in that until